Well, of course, thank you very much to K. Asif Ahmad and Sabir Hussain for joining us on our segment of cricket. The test match, of course, continues, and I think it's a runs galore, this test match, and the result would be very unlikely, but you never know with baseball approach. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. 1-0 down in the series, India, they probably want to make a comeback as well. But now we move on to our segment of football, and of course, there's a lot of interest going into some top stories of football. Let's take a look at this report.
Pakistan clinched an important 2-0 victory over Indonesia in their second match of the AFC Women's Asia Cup qualifiers, with both goals coming in the first half. The match held in Indonesia saw Nadia Khan break the deadlock in the 8th minute, giving Pakistan an early lead. Just 10 minutes later, in the 18th minute, Soha Hirani doubled the advantage by converting a penalty kick, making it 2-0. Despite some pressure from the Indonesian side, Pakistan defense stood firm and they managed to hold onto their 2-goal lead throughout the match, securing a crucial 3 points. This win was much needed bounce back after their tough 8-0 loss to Chinese Taipei in the opening game. With confidence resorted, Pakistan now turns its attention to the next challenge, a match against Kyrgyzstan on July 5. The competition is fierce, as only the top 8 teams from the qualifiers will secure a spot in the AFC Women's Asian Cup 2026. Every match is now vital for Pakistan, and this victory has put them in a stronger position as they chase their dream of qualifying for the tournament.
And there you have it. In this report, we get the details. To discuss football further, in studios, we've been joined by our sports expert, Malik Usman Ahmad. Assalamu alaikum, Usman. How are you?
Walaikum assalam. I'm doing well.
Right. What would you like to add, Usman, on this victory? Of course, 62 places difference between Indonesia and Pakistan, and not much preparation. The camp was held for only a few days when the team departed.
See, these kind of victories actually become the highlight, but this is not the benchmark that we should be setting for our sports. One of victory every 2, 3, 4 years time is not something that we should be very proud of. This kind of victory should be more consistent. 157th rank in the world is nothing to be very proud of, and you're beating Indonesian side which is 62 places above that, we can agree. But all the time, every time we are talking about we don't have the resources, we did not have the camps, we don't have the players, we don't have the money, and yet see what we have done. What you have done? You have done nothing. You just get one victory out in the whole year, and that is a cause of celebration for the whole year. Now the Football Federation will come out and start celebrating. I'm not so sure, but if this happens, I won't be surprised that once this team returns to the airport, there could be garlands and there could be bouquets thrown at these players that you have done a remarkable job and you have made your country very proud.
Certainly, but that being said, I think still a long way to go for Pakistan women's football. Nonetheless, they can cherish this victory, but they have to probably focus on the task up ahead as well, which is consistent results, not on the team's perspective only, but also for the Pakistan Football Federation as well. Now we come on to the FIFA Club World Cup, where we now have the quarterfinal lineup that has been completed as well. In the latest encounter, Real Madrid has beaten Juventus 1-0 and they've also qualified. Malik Usman Ahmad, very interesting lineups up ahead.
Yeah, I think it's a huge shock for the world of football, more specifically European football teams, because they were thinking that they could be dominating this tournament throughout. But that has not happened from day one itself. I go back to Inter Miami beating Porto 2-1. It started from there itself. And now we have a couple of teams that are non-Europeans and they are featuring in the quarterfinal, and a couple of them might have a great chance of going into the semi-finals. More importantly, what Hilal has done has been remarkable. They have drawn with Real Madrid 1-1, and now they have eliminated Manchester City 4-3. It's not, mind you, penalty shootout that you call it a fluke. They have been in front of the Manchester City twice in that game, and they finished and they came out winner 4-3, and it was due to fantastic football. It was not just about parking the bus or some European teams that do similar things in Europe against Manchester City, but here Hilal actually went toe-to-toe with Manchester City. Okay, I agree that more ball possession was with Manchester City, but at the end of the day we have seen who has come out winners, and now they have a very good chance of going through into the semi-final as well. And then you look at Palmeiras, they have been fantastic. So many clean sheets for them, for Botafogo as well. Fluminense had a very good tournament. They came, they had a tough luck against Bayern Munich as well.
That one is an important victory, because I think the world has underrated the Brazilian league.
Yeah, that is true.
Their quality sides, and they came up beating Inter Milan, who have been finalists in the Champions League as well. That was a big victory for them.
See, I will tell you one thing that to be very fair, I was not surprised 1% what Brazilian clubs have been doing. People who have been following their football, they know how they play, and they play more about free flowing football. We are used to mechanical style of football that is adopted in Europe for the past few years, and we don't get that Samba style of free flowing football, that stylish football. That is what Brazilian clubs do, and they have been caught surprised. They talk about the weather, they talk about the pitch, they talk about the aptitude, but that is same for all the teams, and that is what this Brazilian clubs have done. You can talk about the Argentinian club. Boca Juniors have been a failure, River Plate has been a failure. We all knew they only qualified because of the coefficient from that country, but Brazilian clubs, they actually were expected to do well, and they have done well.
Well, I won't be surprised if Al Hilal beat Fluminense and then qualify for the semis. That is a huge possibility. But that being said, two particular games that I really want to talk about, which I think are worthy of a final, not a quarter-final. One is PSG up against Bayern Munich, and then Real Madrid up against Borussia Dortmund.
See, talking about PSG and Bayern Munich, I think Bayern Munich actually dig their grave themselves. They did not top the group, and it was always expected that they are going to have one hell of a ride to the final. And now they have a very, very tough nut to crack in PSG. I think PSG will start as favourites. They have already demonstrated what team they are capable of, and winning the European Championship was no fluke. The Champions League I'm talking about. They actually dismantled Inter Miami in the first half itself. Second half was more of a picnic, and they gave respect to Inter Miami. But come Bayern Munich, I think it's going to be one hell of a ride for Bayern Munich. It's going to be very, very tough. Talking about Real Madrid and Dortmund, see, Dortmund actually had Real Madrid's number for the past couple of years, but talking about the quality, sheer quality, and the team on paper, I think Real Madrid will start as favourites, but you cannot rule out Dortmund actually upsetting Real Madrid, because they have not been themselves in this tournament, although they have got to the quarterfinals and they may sneak through into the semis as well. But I think it's going to be a very, very competitive game.
For one team that you have picked out of all of them, which you're going to be rooting for to win this Club World Cup,
has to be Al Hilal. Al Hilal, because they have not surprised me. See, if you look at the comments that Cristiano Ronaldo actually passed a couple of days back, the most recent, and for the past couple of months, he said that Saudi Pro League is better than League One, and you can count this in the top 5 leagues in the world. I think now a lot of people are talking about the quality of this league, and Al Hilal, as we actually spoke about Al Hilal in the beginning of the tournament, that they have most of their players in the Saudi Arab national team as well. So they have now more of the European players as well. They have very, very good coach in Simone Inzaghi, who was previously leading Inter Milan, and he led Inter Milan into the Champions League final, and he actually had 2 Champions League final, if you remember the Manchester City one as well, which actually they dominated. So this victory is no fluke, and you count the Real Madrid 1-1, again they went toe to toe with them. So just thinking about that, it's a non-European club, it's a Saudi club, it's an Arab club, and they won't do well. I don't agree with that. They have the quality, they have the money, and they have the players, and they won't be upsetting many teams, but they will win the games on their own will and in their style of football.
Absolutely, it will. But thank you very much, Malik Usman Ahmad, for joining us. That wraps up our segment for football and the show itself as well. It's a very interesting quarterfinal lineup going forward, and I think football fans should get their popcorn ready, because I think it's going to be a stellar semi-final and then subsequently final up ahead after we're done with the quarterfinal stages as well. That wraps it up from me and the entire team. It's goodbye for now.